Hi everybody and welcome back to Shane's Minis. Right, so recently I bought myself a copy of Tanks board game by Gale Force 9. So rather than just playing it on the kitchen table, I thought to myself, I'm going to make a proper board to play this on with trees and roads and whatnot. So I thought I would make a series of videos for you about how I'm going to do all this. So I'll take you through texturing the board and painting it, and then, some more videos about various pieces of scatter terrain that we'll put on just to decorate it. So, in this first video, I'll just show you how I'm going to make some textured paint and then slap it onto the board, and we will go from there. Right, shall we get started? So in order to make the textured paint, I'm going to be using several different things. I have some coarse grit here, some larger stones here, and then some fine sand. I'll also be using a dark brown paint, some regular household filler, and then just a couple of squirts of PVA glue. I've also got some water on hand just in case I need to thin the mixture out any if it becomes too thick. Okay, so I'm going to start by pouring a good amount of this brown paint into this old tub that I've got here. So we'll try with that and see how we get along. I'll just stick that in as well. So I'll start adding some texture now. So I'll pop some of this thicker grit, some of these bigger stones, and then just a pinch of this finer sand in there as well. So add a quick squirt of PVA glue. There we go. And then using an old brush, I'll just mix this all together. So there's not a lot of texture in there at the moment. I'd like a bit more, so I'm just going to go ahead and add some more gravel. So I'm just going to keep going now until I've got a texture that I'm happy with, and obviously I need to cover a 3 foot by 3 foot playing area for tanks. So I'll just mix up a good batch of this and I'll show you the end result. So one thing I forgot to add in was the filler. So I'm just going to add a small amount of this to the mixture now, just to add a bit more thickness to it, and just to help add in with texture to the board. So just a small scrape like that, and then I'll get to mixing this all together again. So as you can see, I've finished mixing it together. It does look a little thin, so it may take 2 coats to get proper coverage, but I'll just show you on this bit of scrap MDF I've got the kind of texture you can get just from using this simple technique. So load up your brush, take a bit of the excess off, and just start painting it on. And there we go. So hopefully you can see that under the camera. Like I say, it might take 2 coats to get a good coverage, but you can see all the little stones and the gravel in there, just giving it a bit of texture. And this will pick up dry brushing really well and give a good base, with which to work on the rest of your board. So I'm going to go and paint the big 3x3 piece of MDF, and I'll show you what that's like when I'm done. So here's the table after the first coat of textured paint. As you can see, it's still quite patchy, and a bit thin in places. So I'm going to let this one dry fully, and then I'll give it a second coat, and we'll have a look after that one. So there we go, that's the board after a second coat of the textured paint. All that's left now is to give it a quick dry brush with a lighter shade of brown. In this case I'm using Wilkinson's Chocolate Dream paint. So as you can see, I've given the board a quick dry brush with the lighter brown. Now there are a few patches where you can see streaks, like this for example, but as I'm going to be flocking quite a lot of the board anyway, I'm not going to worry too much about those. So this is where we're at so far, and the next stage is to put some flock on and give it a bit of colour. Okay, so for this next part I've got several different flocks that I'm going to use. I have this sort of meadow green flock here, shall we say. I have a dark green and I have a light green. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try this. I've not done this before, so I thought I'd give it a go, see how it works. I've got a little spray gun with some watered down PVA and a touch of washing up liquid in here. As you can see, I've already had a quick spray just to check it works. So I'm going to spray it across the board, sprinkle some flock, and once it's dry, tap off the excess, and we'll have a look and see what we end up with. So after the flocking, that's what the board looks like. One last little thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few of these bits of clump foliage just to represent little bushes onto the board. It's going to be simple as a dab of PVA glue on the bottom, then I'll just squish it in wherever I want the bushes to go. So I'll just go and do that now, and then we'll have a look at this last stage. So there's a little bit of clump foliage I've glued to the board. Obviously the PVA glue will dry clear, so that won't be visible. And this is where we're at so far. So it's a good start. All the basic grass and the mud texture's all there. The next step on completing this board will be to add in all the scatter terrain. So I plan on doing a few roads. There's those little buildings I painted in a previous video. They'll probably end up going on here as well, and some woods and maybe even a pond. So I hope you join me next time, and we'll carry on and see how much of this board we can get done. Okay, goodbye for now.